Well, it's about a 10-minute drive between Northcote City's home at John Cain Memorial Park and FC Clifton Hills Fortress out at Quarries Park. But tonight, the two local foes are going to clash with a lot more than just local bragging rights in mind. Across the next 90 minutes, or 120, or even penalties if we need them, one of these two sides, who both reside outside of the Victorian top tier, will punch their tickets to the national stages of the Australia Cup, putting their name up in nationwide lights and possibly even fill in their club's coffers if they're fortunate enough to draw an A-League men's side in the open draw. For Northcote, Hercules, that would represent their second time amongst the final 32 sides standing in the Australia Cup, having previously advanced through in the 2018 iteration of the tournament, only to fall to Tasmania's Devonport Strikers. Their captain, Josh Knight, knows what it takes to get beyond this point, having scored the winning penalty for FC Bulleen Lions when they advanced through to the national stages of the Cup a few years ago, when they were promptly beaten by a Brunswick Juventus featuring his now teammate, Tremaine Sadler. For FC Clifton Hill, the Hillmen, as they go by, victory tonight would see them become the lowest-ranked side to ever advance through to the national stages from Victoria. Coach Nick Georgakopoulos' side currently top of Victoria's State League 2 Northwest Division after 12 games, after previously being relegated from State 1 the season prior. Of course, a few handy additions during the off-season have helped spur that turnaround, including the likes of Luke Biles, who once upon a time captained Heidelberg United when they hosted Melbourne City in the national stages of the Cup. Form guide and reputation says that Northcote should win tonight's game handily, but games aren't played on paper for good reason, and tonight we'll see if Clifton Hill can capture some of the magic of the Cup. For now, though, we will briefly pause for a moment of silence for Ale Rasic. Impeccably observed at John Cain Memorial Park. And my name is Joey Lynch. Thank you ever so much for joining me tonight for this Australian Cup game, whether you happen to be tuning in on NPL.tv or Football Victoria's Facebook and or YouTube pages. It's a chilly night here in Melbourne, but as you might be able to hear in the background, the fans have made their way out from the social club and into the grandstands here in Northcote. Temperature's currently sitting at 11 degrees, and we are supposed to get down potentially into the single digits as the night goes on. One hopes that the action on the field will do enough to distract from the elements and keep us warm with a bit of excitement. As it is Northcote that will kick us off, the hosts wearing blue tops, white shorts, kicking from left to right of your screen. FC Clifton Hill wearing all powder blues, kicking from right to left in these opening exchanges. And they have a throw-in. Joseph Hunt to take it for the visitors. Chris Theodorita starts in goal. In front of him, Callum Hodges, Gav Jones, Jesse Cooley-Graham, Vincent Berry, Joseph Hunt, Luke Biles, Harry Noon, Matthias Correa, Robbie Williamson and James Foster. For the visitors, starting in goal, Brandon Kumanau, Jacob Lever in front of him, Kevin Lynch, Leo Athanasiou, Josh Knight, Ioannis Georgopoulos, Yug Gandhi, Zach Bates, Takaru Kiyonaga, George Salakidis and Sam Ward. So, as mentioned, potentially something of a mismatch on paper. Northcote City entering this game 8th in the NPL2 competition. FC Clifton Hill entering at top of the, well, Men's State League 2 Northwest. It's a bit of a mouthful of a league, but they reside on top of it. They've played 12, won 9, drawn 2 and lost only 1. Their goal difference, well, it's good for plus 26, scored 28, conceded only 2, FC Clifton Hill. And, well, despite the discrepancies in league, they already have gone on a bit of giant slaying in this cup run. Knocking off sides above them on the run, including Port Melbourne Sharks, 1-0 in the 5th round of the tournament. But now it's Northcote driving forward and sending in a shot on goal, which is going to sail harmlessly wide of Chris Theodoridis' goal. Theodoridis, no stranger to observers of NPL Men's Victoria or the Australia Cup. Stalwart of those Heidelberg United sides that were ever present on the national stages. Clifton Hill will win a throw-in on that right flank. Give it straight back to Northcote, who themselves, well, enter this game on a bit of a skid, losing their last 2 games in the league. 3-1 loss to Kingston at this ground and a 2-1 loss to Brunswick Juventus. Hoping that the cup can spur some return to form as Salakidis went down heavily, but it's going to be play on. Kiyonaga takes it away and switches it. Northcote just knocking it about, putting their foot on it. Salakidis playing it central to Knight. Kiyonaga. High crossfield ball. Straight down the gullet of a Clifton Hill player, but then it's immediately sent back to Zach Bates. Immediately recognisable with that shock of blonde hair. And eventually it is Bates, the former South Melbourne player, giving away the free kick on that far side of the pitch. FC Clifton Hill fans, you might be able to hear them in the background in fine voice with the musical instruments accompaniment. High crossfield ball, in, well, it was placed in the general vicinity of James Foster, but swallowed up by Kumanau, the Queenslander, who's come down for this season in Victoria. Previously had stints with Lions FC and Olympic. Northcote trying to play through this Clifton Hill press, which backs off as it goes back to Kumanau. Williamson running around there for Clifton Hill. He's a bit of a danger man for this side. 7 goals across all competitions, including a brace in their win on the weekend against Geelong Rangers. Now, here come Northcote, switching the play across. George Salakidis having a few early touches, sending it central to another man that's seeing a lot of the ball early, Kiyonaga. And then he's going to give it up to Foster. Berry couldn't find a teammate, so it's going to roll through to Ward. Georgopoulos now on the ball. Ioannis Georgopoulos to Bates. Bit of a collision, but he's past 1, past 2, and he's still trying to bustle his way through. And Callum Hodges just coming across with a mighty attempt at a clearance, and it's last come off Bates, it appears, so throw in for Clifton Hill early doors. Grandstand definitely filling up here. John Cain Memorial Park. As mentioned, these two sides very much in the vicinity of each other. A 10-minute drive between the two home grounds. Bates puts that one out. Noon swarms, did enough to retain possession for his side, did Harry Noon, another well-known figure at this level for FC Clifton Hill, a member of those Heidelberg sides alongside Chris Theodoridis and Luke Biles as well. Hunt's not been able to keep that one in, so it will be a Northcote throw. Salakidis didn't like what he saw in front of him, so he's instead going to go back to Lever. Across the park to Lynch. Lynch, who actually has 2 goals in Northcote's cup run thus far. Getting forward, the big defender. On the ball now, getting it to Bates, who's going to go down and win a free kick. The referee tonight, Ionis Zizis, one of the best in the business. Opportunity now for that tall timber to get forward. Directing a bit of traffic. Sam Ward's heading up there. So is Lynch. And the runs come on, almost onto the head of Ward. Just escapes him. Danger's not cleared. Knight trying to make a nuisance of himself and giving away a throw-in in the end, but it's going to give the hosts an opportunity to get some numbers around the play and try to box Clifton Hill in. Keely Graham in there trying to dig it out. Did well. Northcote just booted away. Keely Graham twisting and turning, forced to go backwards in the end. Now it's a Hunt on the left. He didn't like what he sees in front of him. Goes back to Jesse Keely Graham. And in the end, just peters out for us. See Clifton Hill. Can't overstate, even with their high-profile additions, what an achievement it would be for FC Clifton Hill to make it to the national stages of the Cup. Team that competes in the 5th tier of Victorian football. As Bates showed for the ball short, instead it's sent long. Turned onwards, but in the end it's just going to be a bit of a reset. And Kumanau can have another go, only this time play is live, so he can run it out a bit. Sent long in the Bates direction. A little bit of a shove, but a fair one. And he does enough to win a throw-in for his side. Clifton Hill getting numbers back. Everyone behind the ball, so it induces Northcote to go in the opposite direction. Ward surveys the scene. Back to Lynch. Tries to drive something central, but it's going to skittle everybody. And Theodoridis just puts his boot through it. Up for grabs in the middle of the park. Noon battling in there, providing a bit of support for Berry. They're going to cuff it up, Clifton Hill. Bates comes away with it. Lynch. Back to Bates. Crossfield ball for Jacob Lever. John Salakidis now. He was closed down quickly by Joseph Hunt. And now a bit of the pressing is coming from Williamson. Was coming out to get rid of it quickly. That was well done there from the FC Clifton Hill attacker. He doesn't win the ball, but he certainly made things uncomfortable for the Northcote defence. Salakidis. Kianaga, but he's going to cough the ball up. Foster sends it central. Back out now to Hunt. Keely Graham. That's going to be just under hit slightly, and here comes Josh Knight. Nice step over to lose his man, Josh Knight. Ball across, should be the opening goal. Is the opening goal. Yug Gandhi, the Northcote youngster, runs across to congratulate Josh Knight. The two combining excellently to put Northcote City ahead early on in this contest. The youngster came up through the academy ranks and made his debut as a 17-year-old in 2022. Was named Young Player of the Season for that campaign. He puts his side ahead. It's his first goal in the Cup, his second in all competitions this season. And it's an important one because it sends Hercules on their way towards the national stages of the Australia Cup. I have to give a lot of credit, though, to the work of Josh Knight in the build-up to that, losing his man with aplomb. There's really not a lot that Luke Biles could do about it as he skipped away. Indeed, it's been a good week. It's been a good month for Josh Knight. Became a dad for the second time this month with baby Alfie. And now he's got an assist that has Northcote City potentially on their way to the national stages. As that ball's going to roll, who'd at last take a touch off FC Clifton Hill, so Lynch will collect. Sent down the touch, and another Northcote throw-in. Kianaga didn't have a lot of space to work with, but was able to just dance around enough to induce a challenge that got his side another throw-in. Well done from the Japanese import. She spent time in the Kashima Antlers Academy. Did Kianaga. Actually recruited out from the J3 as well, so decent pedigree for a player arriving in the NPL2 Victoria competition. Athanasiou just conceding the throw-in. Clifton Hill ball. Well, our referee owner Zizis has seen something he doesn't like, but is it potentially in the dugout? I know he did have concerns pre-game about potential kick clash. This dark blue of Northcote against the light blue of Clifton Hill. Playing allowed to go on though, and it doesn't appear to be causing any confusion amongst the players as Biles sends it out to Hunt on the left. And then he gets it forward to Foster. Williamson. Back to Hunt, ball sent in, and, well, wasn't the most graceful of clearances. When it did the job. Sometimes effective is better than pretty, as Georgopoulos just puts it out for a throw-in. Keely Graham, can he whip something in? He can. Players arriving. It was Correa coming at pace, but headed clear, at least initially, by Northcote. Throw in deep on the attacking right flank, coming up for the visitors. Big pack of players around the ball, trying to just fashion an angle through. And they've done well, Clifton Hill, at least to keep possession, but then the tiki-taka runs dry, and it will be a goal kick for Northcote. So, looks like this one's going long. We've seen Northcote trying to play it short from a few goal kicks, only to have a few problems with the press, so just hoofed away instead. Pack forms between Correa and Bates, and then the long-range effort. Kumanau forced to just poke it away, just thrust it over the bar. It came upon him in a flash. And it's almost something from nothing. FC Clifton Hill as their drums burst to life here at the John Cain Memorial Park grandstand. A wicked effort. Almost to the extent that Kumanau barely got enough touch on it to keep it away from the top of the net as the ball gets sent in. Can't beat the first man. Kianaga has space to advance into. Harry Noon sprinting back and laying the challenge that at least holds him up. Athanasiou sends it out to the left. Now Bates. Dinked ball over the top, looking for Knight. He keeps it in. Gandhi wants the ball in the middle. He wants to add another one to his tally. Now looped in his general direction, but it's going to go over his head and he's going to have to give chase. Throw and taken. Foster providing the defence for FC Clifton Hill, and he's done well. Now potentially something in transition for the visitors if they can fashion it, but Williamson was closed down quickly. He had Vincent Berry in support. Hodges back across to Theodoridis. Goal conceded by FC Clifton Hill to Gandhi, just the second they've conceded in the Australia Cup. The other coming in their 3-1 win over South Springvale in the 6th round of preliminary qualifying. Just the 4th goal they've conceded across all competitions. But now, as Northcote come forward, looking to pile on that pain. Ball into Knight, he can't marshal it. Theodoridis claims. And then rolling it out quickly. Hunt surveys the scene in front of him as he gets it back from Curly Graham. To Biles, to Noon. Wearing the armband tonight. Harry Noon, high ball across the field. Chested down, but waiting in the road was Kevin Lynch. Correa was coming through with some pace from his position on the flank. Something that Northcote and coach Željko Kuzman might have to keep an eye on throughout this game. They're certainly not blowing their lower ranked sides out of the water, not that you would have expected them to coming in. Ball in doubt in the middle of the park. Northcote trying to come away with it. They'll get a throw in for their troubles. Bates. Now Ionis Zizis has heard something he doesn't like, and he's going to book Yug Gandhi. I can only assume it's for some form of dissent. One of the problems with watching along with games like this and trying to call them, you're always constantly eyes on the ball. You do miss things that happen behind play sometimes. So we'll have to operate on the assumption that Gandhi's been booked for talking back. High ball forward. Biles trying to clear it away. Had support from Hodges, but here come Northcote. Arriving into the penalty area with Salakidis. The ball doesn't arrive though. Eventually sent in, but there's a strong defensive header and then cleared further away by Foster. Georgopoulos. collects for Northcote. Nice flick around the corner, but Bates left it behind somewhat. Allowed Correa to just poke it away. Throw and taken. Athanasiou can't wrangle it. So just over 20 minutes gone here at John Cain Memorial Park. Score is Northcote City 1, FC Clifton Hill 0. Gandhi turning in a Josh Knight cross to put the hosts ahead. Put them on the road to a second appearance in the Australia Cup's round of 32. And avoid the cup set, the ignominy of being the foes vanquished as a State League 2 side. Made it to those ranks, which is what FC Clifton Hill are attempting to become. High ball forward, Bates looks like he's got in behind, but the flag has gone up on that far side. Josh Knight though, clapping his approval at the intent at the very least. And a Hunt on the left. Gandhi was coming across to provide a bit of attention. The 2-11's battling, and Gandhi still kept going. Cool, calm and collected from Clifton Hill, as they'll get it back to Biles. Chipped forward. Williamson can't make proper contact with it now. Knocked forward. Knight can't collect it before Biles comes across to claim. A bit of time and space to operate in on the right flank for Clifton Hill. And then Hodges sends it back to Theodoridis. He had Foster calling for the ball on this left flank. Instead he went back to the right to Hodges. Now potentially the switch is on. Biles goes out to Hunt as Foster inverts and provides an option further ahead. That's where it now goes. The bounce wasn't a kind one. He has to go back and get it. James Foster back to Biles. Harry Noon. Bates just poking that ball away before Correa could burst down the right again. Appeals for a free kick from the Clifton Hill faithful in the grandstands. Ignored. Not that I imagine Zizzes could hear them from his position. Biles just laying down the law with his body as he wins that header. It's going to come straight back, and that's a sharp little ball from Kianaga. Looking for Gandhi, who's done well. Gandhi advancing in, trying to find options in the middle, or going himself in the ends. Looking for Kianaga. Last second clearance instead coming in from Hunt. But it will be a Northcote corner. Opportunity for Jacob Lever and Kevin Lynch to get forward. Sam Ward as well. Bates provides the short option. That's where it goes. Well, they can't fashion a delivery in, at least initially, Northcote, and then it's cleared away. So perhaps a little too pretty with it were Northcote, as Clifton Hill trying to transition quickly with some rapid pace. They are denied though, as the hosts put their foot on the ball again. Really is when the play does slow down, that's when Northcote are at the advantage. become readily apparent in these opening exchanges, but when they are able to use their speed and capitalise on Northcote errors, FC Clifton Hill have certainly shown that they are a threat to the goal of Brandon Kumanau. Who has a goal kick now, and well, they went long with their previous one after having a bit of issue with Clifton Hill's press. They've gone short this time. We'll see what Lynch can do with the ball. He'll send it long in the Gandhi direction. He'll try to turn. Bates providing support. Beats Noon for pace. Has Knight in front of him. Bates, he's going to go himself. It was awkwardly bouncing, but Theodoridis didn't have to move to either side as he collects it on his chest. And this Northcote back three gets set up again. It was Ward with the defensive header on that occasion. He's occupying the middle with Lynch to his left and Lever to his right. Billy Graham sending across to Hodges. Had Correa down the channel. Instead he goes central to Noon. Switch potentially on for Clifton Hill if they can work the ball quickly. Hunt screaming for it, and eventually that's where it goes. Joseph Hunt. His attempted cross is deflected away for a corner. So four players at the top of the box for Clifton Hill, just one in the 6-yard box, at least initially. The runs come in, and it was a glancing header onwards, induced a bit of panic there from Kumanau. The danger's not cleared. Another ball swung in towards the back post and just beats the flying leg of the last man, and Northcote survive to tell the tale. It was Gav Jones sliding in very late. He's got 13 goals across all competitions for Clifton Hill this season, so if there's really a man that you don't want finding space like that, it is Gav Jones. Now he's come up to apply the press. Lynch sends it in the general Gandhi direction on the left flank, but it's going to go out. Sent in the Jones direction. Coming through for it, though, was Ward. It's going to find nobody except Cooley Graham. He sends it back to Biles. Now Hunt. Central for Williamson, trying to turn and face the right way. In the end, another well-worked move by Clifton Hill. As he got the ball to Foster, who drove inside. And that one comes to naught. Callum Hodges just unable to get enough power or direction on the ball in, and his header is going to sail harmlessly wide. High ball forward, Hodges underneath it. Noon sends it down the flank for Correa. He can't get there in time. Ball in dispute once again in the middle of the park, but it's Northcote that come away with it, and that's an intriguing ball down the flank, only for it to be picked out by Hunt, who's going to burst forward down the left. High ball in, just was bouncing dangerously towards the near post. I'm not even sure if it collected a touch on the way, but Kivinow taking no chances, just poking it away for another corner kick. So Clifton Hill now increasingly beginning to knock on the Northcote door. They are down 1-0, searching for a way back into this contest. Throw in a few more numbers forward now. Again, it's gone towards the back post, but Lynch coming up big where it matters and then just booting it clear. Biles has plenty of time. It's Noon, who tried to turn around the corner, but only as far as Georgopoulos. Athanasiou, he's going to cough the ball up. Berry in there for Clifton Hill. Advantage has been played. Williamson shooting, inducing a fantastic save from Kivinow. And if they were knocking on the door before Clifton Hill, they're veritably hammering on it now. Northcote struggling to get the ball out of their own half as the State League 2 side throw attacks forward. This time a corner from the attacking right flank. We've seen the last few go towards the back post. This one's a more central direction. Coming out with the double-fisted punch. That's a nice little touch though from Kianaga, and now he's forward. Knight's there as well, but the Japanese import going his own way for now. Kianaga looking for the touchline. Clifton Hill get numbers back and in the road. And in the end, perhaps intended for Georgopoulos. And hold on, it looks like we might have some form of injury behind the play as well. Is that Gandhi? It is the goal scorer, Yug Gandhi, rubbing his head. Meanwhile, a corner has been awarded to Northcote. Theodoridis potentially carrying it out as he claims that cross from Takeru Kianaga. Will present an option for Northcote potentially, well, really against the run of play as the ball gets sent in. Theodoridis with the punch. It didn't go very far. And it's going to be another corner. That one not finding the touchline off the boot of Luke Biles. Instead, rolling out for a corner on the opposite side. So Josh Knight eventually ambles over to take. The runs come, it was a good delivery and met sweetly, but just directed wide in the ends. But Northcote on that occasion through Sam Ward, the closest they have come to making it 2-0 in this contest. Theodoridis signals the troops. This one's going long. Georgopoulos flew at it. He couldn't get it. And the second occasion he's tackled, and it's going to fall out to Foster. Nice play springs him into space on the left flank. He goes back to Hunt, who whips it in, and Williamson just trying to flick it on. He fell. Noon, he falls over as he tries to control it. Gandhi, who's shaken off that earlier knock, it appears. Playing forward Bates. He's got Knight just inside him. Zach Bates, speed to burn. Ball across, well, with a cross, but with no real intended target in mind, and far too close to Theodoridis, who falls upon it. Georgopoulos just able to keep it in. Thanasiou. He plays it backwards. That's a Lynch. Noon comes up to apply the pressure on him. Tries to slip through Gandhi. Successful. Attempted cross blocked. Ball in dispute. Bates back to Gandhi. Going to shoot. And blast it well wide of the goals. Big pack of players forming this little area of the pitch, and that's where it's sent. Nodded on by Berry. No, he's just going to roll straight through to Kumanau. Pressure from Clifton Hill giving Northcote fits, but they've been able to play out on this occasion. Jacob Lever, crossfield ball in the Gandhi direction. Just gets over the head of Correa. Gandhi now, step over as he looks to find an angle, but Correa recovers well and puts the ball out for Northcote set piece, another Northcote corner. And here comes Ward, Lever and Lynch up from the back line. Georgopoulos waiting at the top of the penalty box. Kianaga at the back peg. Sent in that direction. Ward heading it back central. And Georgopoulos never really able to make the proper contact that he was searching for as it sails away. Just unable to swing that right leg around, get those hips working and swiveling and over the ball. And it will be a goal kick. Another booming goal kick appears to be coming. Harry Noon out wide. Gav Jones in front of him. It goes to Noon and he tries to flick it on to Jones. Only for no parts of that plan to work, and instead it's going to be a Northcote throw-in. High ball forward. Williamson was just worked underneath it, so he couldn't properly contest it. Bates now, nodding it forward. A lot of players in there, but he's going to find a way through. Hodges, the closest defender, falling over in the attempted delivery, and then Theodoridis, commanding his penalty area, claims the ball. Noon can't get back in time. Georgopoulos turning. Sending out to Salakidis on the right. Back to Lever. Yeah, and then Sam Ward falls over as he sends that one out to Lynch. Did just look to be taking a bit of a tumble, nothing untoward. Meanwhile, back in the centre of the park, Knight on the ball. Crossfield pass intended for Salakidis. It's going to hang up there and then lead to the 50-50. That's going to fall back to Lever in the end. Salakidis and Georgopoulos combining. Athanasiou. So playing keep away is Northcote. Ball sent in the Gandhi direction. Headed away by Clifton Hill, and they'll try to fashion something forward. Williamson knocking it down. Getting it back. Couldn't just combine with Berry. And instead, maybe Northcote can get some numbers forward before Clifton Hill set up. No. Bates now. Again, just hopeful ball in, but not really troubling FC Clifton Hill as they clear away another pass sent into the penalty area with relative ease. Kianaga, he can't retain possession. Jones now for Clifton Hill. Berry wants the ball back in the middle. It's not going to be forthcoming. Back out to Noon. He can't combine though with Correa and Jones in that right flank area on the by the halfway line. Bates will hope his second throw in is of a better sort than his first. Goes in the same general direction, and again it's headed away, but this time central. Miles' ball does just sneak through to Foster, who sends it back out to Hunt. Hodges. This is better from Clifton Hill. Noon on the ball. It's turned over now. Knight, who set up Northcote's first. Salakidis. Now to Gandhi, the scorer of the first. Foster able to just get a boot in, and that's going to force the turnover. Williamson goes back to Hunt. Hunt able to keep it in to Biles. You see 5 players up front for Clifton Hill, right next to the back line of Northcote, so big gaps in the midfield. They're really occupying those spaces. Now dropping to receive was Jones, sending it right back to Keely Graham. Now Jones and Noon occupying, trying to provide that link between defence and attack, but they're going to be bypassed. In the end though, Keely Graham's ball is only able to find the gloves of Kiminau. And that is half-time here at John Cain Memorial Park, and it is the hosts, Northcote City, who are on their way towards the national stages of the Australia Cup. Josh Knight sending in a cutback that was turned in by Yug Gandhi. The difference between the two sides after 45 minutes. FC Clifton Hill certainly have been able to fashion some chances. They're not being blown out of the park by any means by their opponents that sit much higher in the Victorian pyramid entering this contest, but they are down and they are going to need to reassess and reset in the halftime break and try to fashion a way back into this one. You'll have the countdown clock for company as we await the start of the second stanza, but be sure to join us on the other side as these two sides try to capture some of the magic of the cup. Oh, hey. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's good. I don't know if many people tell you.
No, they don't. Thank you.
And you look after the young boys.
Yes, I try to.
And girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Really appreciate that.
Our Rezzies are top. Our Rezzies are top. They are.
Welcome back, one and all, to John Cain Memorial Reserve out here in Northcote for the second half of this round 7 preliminary qualifier for the Australia Cup. And if you are just joining us, it is the hosts, Northcote City, holding a 1-0 advantage heading into the second stanza, leading FC Clifton Hill thanks to a goal from Yuk Gandhi, set up in the 11th minute by Josh Knight. The hosts shading that first half, as one would likely expect from a side that sits in the second tier of Victorian football, coming up against a side that sits in its 5th. However, FC Clifton Hill certainly not out of this one, not the least because of the talent that they have assembled out there at Quarries Park, but also they have given a few scares to that Northcote backline throughout the game as we get started here in the second half. No changes indicated from either side, so the starting 11s from the first half remain. If we do need to see either side go to their benches at some point, some decent talent to call upon for Northcote, while the outfielders they can call upon: Tremaine Sadler, Nicola Setti, Marco Tavella and Steve Sokol. For FC Clifton Hill, they've got Joseph Jones, Nathan Cook, Shelton Frimpong, Matthew Trotter and Peter Heros on the bench. Northcote knocked the ball forward. Williamson seeing it around the corner, just unable to marshal it and keep it in. Saul Foster getting involved quite a bit on that left flank in the opening half for Clifton Hill. And Berry's in there battling for it alongside Williamson, but neither of them can come up with it. Ball was intended for Kiniyaga, cleared away by Clifton Hill. Switch of play potentially on for Clifton Hill. After Hodges, he's forced to go back to Theodoridis, who just boots it long. Nice little header on from Correa, down to Jones, Gav Jones. His intended pass in, had 2 players in the road. Appeals for a penalty awarded. And Clifton Hill didn't give up on that play. And Iona Zizis points to the spot. And all of a sudden, just moments into the second stanza, it is the visitors, the State League 2 Northwest leaders, FC Clifton Hill, that have a chance to tie this game up. And it looks like it is going to be Robbie Williamson that will take it. He scored no. Pulling rank instead, it's going to be Joseph Hunt. While Hunt has scored 2 goals in Clifton Hill's cup run thus far, can he make it 3? He can! Joseph Hunt ties this game up. FC Clifton Hill back in this one, 1-1. Just minutes into the second stanza. Parity restored. Game on. They go down to celebrate in that corner. Callum Hodges, the unlucky one that had to stay in play to make sure Northcote City couldn't kick off quickly. But here we go. Zach Bates still arguing the toss with referee Ernest Zizis, but the goal will stand. Is magic in the air? Northcote City 1, FC Clifton Hill 1. Pretty much all of the second half remaining, and if required, we will go to extra time and a penalty shootout. There must be a winner. It's now Knight on the ball for Northcote. Can the hosts fashion an immediate reply? Knight one way and then the other, and then the little back heel. Northcote going to work the ball around, perhaps. Back across now. Turnover. Here comes Cooley Graham. It's Jones on his right. That's where it goes. Williamson waiting in the middle, but Jones skies the cross. So here come Clifton Hill again. Momentum well and truly at their backs. Noon with the strong challenge, keeping the attack moving. Comes back out now to him. Harry Noon, Williamson, Correa winding up and flashing that shot over the crossbar. Kumanau, another goal kick. Northcote just really need to get this ball out of their half and restore some level of calmness to proceedings. They've turned the ball over again. Noon. Correa making the run. Goes behind him. Forces him into a battle with Bates. And last took a touch off the peroxide blonde's Northcote man. Jones has been lively in this second half and played an integral role in winning the penalty that restored his side to parity. Has Jones. Of course, he'll be for the score sheet himself. 13 goals across all competitions this year for Clifton Hill. A 14th would have the State League side on their way as that one's flashed across. The face of goal was just begging for someone to arrive. I think appeals for a penalty perhaps as well. Maybe a touch. They go unheeded, but good Lord, if you are a Northcote fan who is not here at John Cain Memorial Park and is watching along on this stream, I can imagine the nerves are really beginning to boil over now. FC Clifton Hill experiencing a bit of a purple patch. And again, they're going to force this ball out to come long. Flicked on. Knight gets there. Now Zach Bates For the byline, keeps it in, and well, Correa was getting back and had to be decisive with that clearance. Bates able to just knock it past Biles, but not past Correa, but his side will have a corner kick and an opportunity to get some of their tall timber forward. Here comes the ball. Headed clear, only as far as Gandhi. Not the best header in the world. Still, Salakidis keeps it alive. Out in the right flank now for Northcote. And that attempted cross takes a touch. And it will be another corner kick. And I did mention earlier, didn't look like there were going to be any changes. Still waiting to see for either side. Got players warming up for Clifton Hill. High ball in. Hodges with a defensive header. Oh, now here, Jones has some space to operate in. Correa's steaming forward. Gav Jones, oh, the attempted little step over, just losing control of it, and that's going to allow Leo Athanasiou to just put that ball out for a corner. But you could hear the excitement begin to build amongst the Clifton Hill faithful here in the grandstand at John Cain as that one came out. Talked about it in the first half, but you do not want to let Gav Jones find space like that if you can. In comes a corner. Oh, it beats everybody in the end. Another one that's just begging to be tapped in. It was Correa that was falling down at the back post. The last man that could have got the touch. You could see the disappointment on his face as he rose to his knees. Northcote throw in on the right. Jones just unable to keep that one in. Georgopoulos. He sends it back, knocked forward. Bounce was almost favourable to Knight. Up for grabs in the middle. Georgopoulos comes down with it. Switches play across to the right. Salakidis was looking central for Kianaga. And then Theodoridis just slides across to keep it in and he'll pick it up. So players still warming up. But no signs of a sub yet. Meanwhile, player down on the turf, it is Callum Hodges. And Aziz is just coming across to make sure he's all right to continue. Don't imagine that Coach Nick Georgopoulos in the Clifton Hill dugout would be wanting to change one of his centre-backs when he does make his changes. They have been able to keep Northcote City out but once on this evening. Northcote City coming into this game having previously beaten Bayside Argonauts 3-1, West Vale Olympic 3-0, and then upsetting NPL one side Moreland City 2-1 in the 6th round of play. As definitely looks like Clifton Hill about to make a change. And it does look like Hodges has had to make way. Rapid removal of the bib on the touchline. We'll see. It looks like Northcote preparing a change there as well. Although I can't see a substitution board over there on the sidelines, so we're going to have to play it by eye to figure it out. Oh, there we go. So Steve Sokol will be replacing Takaru Kiniyaga for Northcote, a West Australian who came over last year to Melbourne Knights and now finds himself playing for Hercules. Meanwhile, it is Peter Hiras that has come onto the park for FC Clifton Hill, replacing Callum Hodges, who's not going to be able to continue. Meanwhile, ball bouncing along there over on the left flank. Foster can't keep it in. Ball forward in the Knight direction, cleared away by Hunt. It's going to find its way through to the newly introduced Steve Sokol, who's just going to try to float the ball through for Gandhi. Too much mustard upon it, and it's going to find the gloves of Theodoridis. Surveys the scene in front of him and decides that going very, very long is the best call. Lever with the defensive header. Noon now for Clifton Hill. That's a Hunt, high ball in, underneath it was Kumanel. Williamson in the vicinity for Clifton Hill, no sorry, it was Vincent Berry. Kevin Lynch. Bates provides the short option on the flank, instead it's knocked forward for Gandhi, he can't get it, but now Bates, with the fortunate recipient of the second ball, loses Noon. Switch of play potentially on as that ball comes out to Lever. Through again to Gandhi. Bates. Sokol made a run, appeals for a free kick. They're waved away. Nice turn there from Berry. Out to Jones. Gav Jones across the face of goal again. That one did look like it was an attempted shot, but no, not enough angle. Well, no, couldn't drag it back, sorry, and there wasn't a teammate arriving at the back post anyway. But Gav Jones certainly coming into this game more and more. I mean, it's been a good weekend. It's been a good week, I should say, for attackers that wear sky blue and have their socks low. So maybe he's just trying to continue that trend tonight. Here he is on the ball now. Nice little back heel for Noon. Then puts his man on the turf. It was Knight. Noon. Good vision across. Is this for 2-1? Couldn't pull the trigger. Kumanau. Desperate. But excellent goalkeeping to keep it out. And well, Northcote. Last minute reprieve. And collection, thanks to their goalkeeper Kumanau, ensuring that they are not now in a 2-1 hole after entering this half with a 1-0 lead. Northcote ball. Zach Bates coming across to take. Lynch gets it to Georgopoulos. He's marshalled. Back to Ward. He's eventually closed down by Berry. Lynch, Kevin Lynch. No real way through. Keely Graham doing well to get the road. Bates. Back out to Ward. Georgopoulos has dropped in between the centre-backs to receive. Athanasiou. Sokol brought down, free kick. Now here we go. This is definitely shooting areas for Northcote City. You can see Sam Ward standing over it, the Canadian-born Irish footballer. Ioannis Georgopoulos there as well. Have seen Georgopoulos serve as a bit of a free kick specialist in the past. Neither have scored during their cup run for Northcote. Ward does have 5 in league play, however. Georgopoulos just the 2. Sam Ward to take. And a falcon in that FC Clifton Hill wall, but it does the job. And you can see Ward thinks that he hit that one very well, down on his knees in the aftermath. Just regretting that it hadn't gone just a bit higher. But the corner kick towards the back post, and that's not the best corner in the world as it sails over everybody's head and harmlessly out for an FC Clifton Hill goal kick. Theodoridis gets set to send another one long. So over an hour gone here now at John Cain Memorial Park. Score is locked at 1 goal apiece. Berry winning the ball for Clifton Hill. Forward. The Williamson direction. Nodded down. Here come Clifton Hill again. Oh, just pass intended for Williamson. Stolen at the last. Bates. Georgopoulos wins a free kick. Foster with the foul. Athanasiou. Digs it forward for Sokol. He's dispossessed by Hunt, who was making the challenge. Ooh, strong header there from Lever. Some appeals for a free kick, ignored. Clifton Hill sends it straight back. Jones almost stole the ball away from Athanasiou, but he was fortunate enough to have Lever in support. Ball sent back by Ward. Up for grabs. In the end, it's the touchline that claims it. Berry does well to win the ball for Clifton Hill. They're going to come forward again. Williamson on the wing. You got Jones waiting in the middle, as was Foster. Correa cleans up and brings it forward. Foster. He's forced into a battle, and eventually it's one that's going to be won by Northcote, and they'll get the throw in. Kevin Lynch sends it up in the Gandhi direction. Can't find him. And then Correa with a nice bit of skill to lose the attention of Knight. Biles. went close down, but he will get the throw-in back. Sent in the Noon direction, but it's headed back by Northcote. Knight trying to hold the play up. He's pressured into coughing it up for Noon. Jones can't keep it in. And throw in taken quickly before Northcote could get set up in a cordon. Bates. That's going to be a turnover. Williamson to Noon. Had the run of Jones, ignored him and went to Hunt. Back now to Noon. Correa, who's gone to centre back after the exit of Hodges. Now Hiras, who came on for Hodges at right back, trying to play a bit of 1-2 work. Gandhi can't win it. Foster instead for Clifton Hill, driving in, left the ball behind. And that afforded Northcote with the moment that they needed to just stick a boot in and clear away the danger yet again. Athanasiou gets it to Gandhi, trying to turn and keep it in. Does so. Bates. Back to Lynch. Switching the play now. Ward across to Lever. Centre of the Sokol. Poor control leads to the turnover again. Keely Graham. That's a Berry. Berry looks up, winds back. Berry falling as he shot, and Kuma now claims it. But the drums continue to beat for FC Clifton Hill. Is they going to come up with another turnover here? And that intended ball around the corner from Berry just can't find its intended target, Foster. And now Jesse Keely Graham has gone down in the middle of the park. Lone substitute moves to warm up for Clifton Hill. I think I can see another bib coming off and a shirt coming on. Substitution being made. Joseph Jones coming on for Keely Graham. So, and here's the Englishman's race run. And Joe Jones enters for FC Clifton Hill with his side level at 1 goal apiece. And it looks like he'll go to left back and Joseph Hunt into the midfield. Around the corner from Gandhi, nodded on by Sokol. Knight holding play up once again, down under the pressure from 2, and that's going to be a free kick. And Matthias Correa has come up worse for wear after that exchange. To his feet now. Bates dinks the ball forward. Intended for Sokol. Cleared away by Correa. Georgopoulos. And Foster closing in on him awful quick, but they've got it out now to Bates in space on the left, have Northcote. Zach Bates bringing it back inside. Georgopoulos scans as the ball comes to him. Switch of play. Salakidis. Bates has come across. Faces goal. Tries to burst through a gap in the defence. Forced to go back to Lever. He has to turn on the Jets to keep possession. Now a high ball in. Good defensive header from Correa. Across to Lynch. Lynch can have another go. Out to Georgopoulos. Athanasiou. Silakidis goes back to his number 6 in both possession and number. Athanasiou. Lynch. Bates. Overlapping run comes. It's ignored. Georgopoulos again scanning. Looking up. And again switching. Northcote are nibbling without going in for that big bite. Players waiting in the middle, but the cross doesn't come in and it's going to be a goal kick. Here we go. Change is being made and it's going to be Athanasiou coming off for Northcote and replaced by Nicolassetti. So an attacking change made by Zelko Kuzman. Athanasiou generally more defensive-minded than Nicolassetti. I would have to imagine that the pressure is on Northcote in this scenario. They're not a top flight team, but they are an NPL2 team that, you know, have been in the NPL1 in the past. They did the double all the way back in 2013, winning the Premiership and Championship. Meanwhile, FC Clifton Hill, residing in State League 2, relegated from State 1 last year. They've never actually been higher than the second tier of Victorian football, and that was just for a 3-season stretch from 2008 to 2010. So in terms of pedigree and expectations, more of those with Northcote than FC Clifton Hill. Even if, again, you do have to acknowledge some of the talent that one would not expect to see at a State League 2 level running around for Clifton Hill. Still, the facts are the facts, and it is the State League 2 side that hold a 1-1 draw at the moment with Northcote City, but we must have a winner tonight. It's Jones trying to bring it down, but he loses out. Setti with an early touch after coming off the bench to Sokol, the other substitute. He'll turn and face the right way, gets it back. Wanted Gandhi in the middle, doesn't come off. Transitions on transitions here. Appeals for a free kick. Waved away. Gandhi loses his man. He's got Lynch to his left. Eventually that's where it goes. Players coming into the middle, and ball was intended for Steve Sokol, but Theodoridis getting down on top of it. But still, we await the breakthrough goal. Still 1-1 here at John Cain Memorial Park with less than 15 minutes of regulation remaining. As Ward boots it away. Foot race is on. Theodoridis comes out to claim it. And well, there were players in the vicinity. And woo, bit of afters there as well. Setzi wants a booking. And indeed, Theodoridis is going to earn himself a slice of cheese for that one. Bit of applause there from the Northcote fans behind the sponsor boarding. Yeah, the futsal courts here at John Cain Memorial Park. Very good crowd for what is a very chilly Tuesday night out to watch this one. Did mention that the two sides are only a 10-minute drive apart from each other, so loyal fans from both outfits here in numbers tonight. You'll love to see it, the magic of the cup. Ball looped in, headed away by Noon. Hunt sends it clear, but only as far as Lynch. Lynch keeps it along the turf. Gandhi can't control it. And it'll be a Clifton Hill ball. Thrown in down the touchline. Georgopoulos and Bates trying to defend it for Northcote. Ooh, Georgopoulos has got the Falcon right in the schmoz. See Clifton Hill ball. As Georgopoulos just making sure that there's no claret coming from his nose as he runs it off. Long ball down the flank. Bates heads it back. Ooh, strong header there, won by Peter Hiras. It's Biles, sends it out to the left. Joe Jones had to keep play moving. Turnover though. Salakidis central in the Gandhi direction. Setti goes down. Doesn't win a free kick, much to the disgust of Knight, who was in the vicinity. Ball sent out to the left to Peter Hiras. He goes central to Correa. But that pass is behind James Foster and out for a Northcote ball. Marshall quickly provides a fresh game ball to Bates, but he can't see an option that he likes, so he's going to steal a metre or so. Bates just runs the ball out of play. And just about 10 minutes of regulation now remaining at John Cain Memorial. And the score remains Northcote City 1. FC Clifton Hill 1. So we will be headed for extra time if we cannot find another goal in the coming 10 minutes. Plus whatever added time the fourth official grants us. As we see Salakidis going into the book. He gets a yellow card. And the trainer is going to be called for as well, it appears. So I would imagine all of this time being added on to that bonus football at the end of the 90. Gav Jones helped to his feet. I would imagine that Gav Jones is certainly not going to be subbed off by Coach Nick Georgopoulos unless he's pretty much only got one leg left. Was instrumental in winning the penalty that got their equaliser and has 13 goals across all competitions thus far this season for Clifton Hill, easily their highest scorer. He's got 8 in the league, 5 in the cup. Scored a brace on the weekend in that heavy win over Geelong Rangers. So he's in form as well, as that's a high ball in. Battling for it well was Hunt. Claims for a corner though waved away, as it will be a goal kick for Northcote. Georgopoulos bustled off by Noon. Free kick. Opportunity for Clifton Hill to get some bodies forward. You can see everybody now moving their way towards the Northcote penalty area. Correa's come forward from centre back. Williamson lurking around there as the ball is sent in. It's the right side of the penalty area, knocked down. Booted clear by Northcote. charged down by Gandhi. Meanwhile, we've got another injury. Looks like it's Joseph Hunt. He was holding his head, so Ioannis Zizis immediately calling a halt to proceedings. And as soon as he's informed that it's not actually Mihen, he immediately runs away. Doesn't... Knight, well, he got his arm up very high there on Hunt, but he's won a free kick, much to Hunt's dismay. And then I think Northcote were also appealing for something behind the ball, as Zizis was laying down the law. Ward. Across to Jacob Lever. Clifton Hill still pressing, last 10 minutes, but doing their best to not allow Northcote to just work their way out from the back with too much ease. And across to Salakides, who eventually gets there. Seti feints one way and then the other. And that ball's going to skittle past Knight. Appeals for a free kick. Initial thoughts was to play advantage, and that's going to be a yellow card for Lever. Noon got in his face to let him know that he wasn't a fan. Zizis tried to play the advantage, but when none was forthcoming, he's brought it back. And now another player receiving treatment. Certainly a fair old number of stoppages in these last 10 minutes of play. Just under 5 minutes of regulation remaining here at John Cain Memorial. But one would imagine that between the goals and the injury stoppages, we should be looking at least 4, possibly 5 minutes of added time. As now Joe Jones will send this free kick in. Williamson looks to have shaken off the knock. High ball in the Hunt direction. He can't come down with it. Berry sends it back in. Hunt! Forces a save from Umenau. Swiveling on that left boot. Clifton Hill fans in the stands. Let out. Almost unanimous gasp as the ball is put out for a corner. Corner in, players falling down, play continues. Setzi. Hiras marshalling him, he wanted a free kick, instead it's going to be a Clifton Hill throw in. Another change being prepared. It is Nathan Cook coming on, replacing Robbie Williamson. Well travelled. Nathan Cook will come on for these final minutes of regulation, and if another goal isn't found, for extra time as well. Headed central, Berry is in there, nice little flick on across the face of goal. And it wouldn't have counted if Foster had turned it in, it was offside. But FC Clifton Hill, the State League 2 Northwest leaders, continue to ask questions of this Northcote City defence. 8th in the NPL 2. High ball out. Either side can find it before it goes out, but that will favour Northcote City as it will be their throw-in. Time continuing to tick away here at John Cain Memorial. There's other Australia Cup games happening tonight as well. Spoiler warning if you are wanting to tune into any of those afterwards, but looking around the grounds after going into half-time down 1-0. Melbourne Knights have scored 3 second-half goals and lead Yarraville FC 3-1 in the 89th minute. The Oakley Cannons, after an hour's play, lead Geelong SC 2-0. This game still locked at 1 goal apiece. Seti turns the corner. Salakidis. Sokol waits in the middle. So does Gandhi. Georgopoulos as well. Can they get a ball in? They're not going to be able to. Can they? Yes, now it comes in high. Theodoridis comes to try to claim. Gets a punch. Now it's the transition on Cook. Well, too much on that one as it rolls away from Gav Jones. Meanwhile, we have gone full time in the resumed South Melbourne Dandenong Thunder game. The second half of that contest played out after a lighting failure over the weekend. That one has finished. Spoiler warning. South Melbourne 3, Dandenong Thunder 2. South actually ending that game with 9 men. Evans and Schroen both seeing red. As here come Northcote. Can they find something late? Gandhi across the penalty area. Couldn't get it through to Georgopoulos. Salakidis. Back to Seti. Seti driving inside. Gandhi. Numbers back for Clifton Hill. Turnover. Knight wasn't a fan of the challenge. He went down under. Advantage is going to be played though. Berry stays down, but it's with Hunt. Gets it out to Foster. Bates gets in his face. I imagine that we're now, will we see it coming back for a yellow card on Knight? He has already been booked, has Knight. That really would put the cat amongst the pigeons, but no, it's just going to be play on. Salakidis driving forward. He slides it across. Players arriving. Georgopoulos is free at the back post. That's where it's going. Georgopoulos brings it down, but that's going to allow Clifton Hill to get the challenge in. As we are now in added time here at John Cain, we will play extra time if neither of these sides can find a late winner. Bates can't slide in and steal it away from Nunu. Gets it to Cook, then receives it back. Two well-travelled veterans of the Victorian scene combining. Joe is directing traffic. And then the resulting pass finds nobody in particular. Northcote now, they can have a go. Can they find a way through? Some of these players look like they're out on their feet. Midweek football. Gandhi turns and faces the left side of the park. Looking for Bates. He's one that looks fatigued. Overlapping run from Lynch is ignored. Central. Georgopoulos looked up, maybe thought about the shot. Instead, keeps it on the turf. Nice move now. Northcote inside at the near post, and that's going to rattle the side netting. Seti has shown intent since he's come on, but on that occasion, the angle too much for him. And we've just about hit 3 minutes of added time played now. Cook trying to head it on, can't keep it in. Northcote go backwards. Lever to Ward. How many more dice throws will these sides get before full time is called and we head to extras? Lynch. Nothing in front of him, so he's just going to go back to Ward. Lever. Knight. He can't see anything in front of him. You're not going to score heading in that direction, Northcote. Some whistles from the grandstand. Now to Lynch. He keeps it in. Gandhi. And it's going to be offside. And we've got cramp as well. Players really struggling, and they're going to have to go an extra half an hour, it appears. Matthias Correa has done a lot of running tonight. Started at right back. Has gone central. Got forward on a number of occasions as well. Potentially now we are at last throw of the dice areas. Cook came flying across. And in doing so, he's given Northcote the throw in. Joseph Hunt directing traffic, telling his side to try to cordon them in, force that high turnover. Not allow Iona Zizis to blow his whistle. Correa. Full time. So a winner cannot be found inside 90 minutes here at John Cain Memorial. So we will play extra football. So here we go. The two teams will get a brief rest, some instructions from the dugout, and we will go again. 2 15-minute halves to be played. And if we can't find a winner at the end of all that, these two teams and the fans in the stands will be forced to suffer through the agony that is the penalty shootout. And we will take you through all of the action here on NPL.tv or Football Victoria's Facebook and or YouTube pages. If you are just tuning in, maybe you are watching the South Melbourne Dandenong Thunder game or the Melbourne Knights Yarraville game that has gone full time, and the Melbourne Knights have advanced through to the national stages of the Australia Cup again, taking out a 3-1 win over Yarraville FC. The Oakley Cannons, their game still ongoing, is currently 2-0 in the 70th minute. Or at least it's the 70th minute according to my Football 24 app. 2-0 over Geelong Soccer Club with goals in the 13th and the 26th minute. Here we are 1-1 at full time. Gandhi's 11-minute strike cancelled out from the penalty spot in the 49th minute. To extras now we go. One of these sides will be playing on the national stages in the Australia Cup. Who, though? We do not yet know. Of course, there is action in other states as well tonight. Over in West Australia after 22 minutes, Sorrento, very familiar figure on the national stage of the Australia Cup, leads Swan United 2-0. Up in Queensland, the Lions lead Redlands United 2-1 in the 90th minute. Coming back from a goal down with 2 second-half strikes. So looks like the Lions are set to advance in that game. And as already mentioned, South Melbourne have beaten Dandenong Thunder in their resumed league contest. So South Melbourne continue their premiership push in the NPL Men's Victoria Football. But we are now back here at John Cain Memorial for the first 15 minutes of extra time. We were remarking about how some of these players looked absolutely out on their feet as the game wound down. And perhaps this game will just come down to who is the fitter, or who is the less tired. Both of these teams did play on the weekend. And here comes Clifton Hill. Cook trying to combine with Foster. Ball across. Can't find anybody in particular, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway, as it is offside. Knocked forward, Cook gives chase, but it's headed away. Noon comes crashing through the pack. Cook, well, fortunate. If Foster had gone down there, that would have been interesting to see what the call would have been. As there were bodies being put on him from either side. Northcote survive. Out to Bates on the left. He's brought down fairly. And both players in a bit of discomfort afterwards. Looked like Bates has come off worse for wear, albeit Jones gets up and then immediately falls down again. Conference happening right in front of the dugouts. Extra instructions also being handed out to Nick Sete from the Hercules dugout. Northcote attempting to advance to the national stages for the second time in their history. Did so previously back in 2018. Seti dances down the left flank, keeps the ball in. Does well to keep the play alive and was looking for Knight. Poked away at the last. Ball forward in the Cook direction. It's not going to make it out to him. Georgopoulos now for Northcote. Sends it across to Selakidis. Lever out to Ward, to Bates. Sefsey provides the overlap in run, which is sent. Low ball in, Knight's in the vicinity, poked clear again. Georgopoulos will wind up, and then the Bronx cheer goes up from the stands as he skies that one high and wide. And still, we await the breakthrough goal in this one. Cook chesting it down. Hunt couldn't collect it, neither could Noon. Now Joe Jones forward for Cook, giving chase. Ball is still bouncing around. Players looking at the ref. Meanwhile, play continued in the middle. It's going to be a corner for Northcote. Corner for Clifton Hill. should say, as we'll see what sort of delivery Vincent Berry can manage. Most players in the vicinity of the 6-yard box awaiting the delivery of this one. Sent in. And eventually booted clear. Knight finding Gandhi. And that ball's behind his teammate. Comfortable for Clifton Hill as the newly introduced Shelton Frimpong tries to carry it forward. Shelton Frimpong has come on at right back. Oh, sliding challenge. Bates goes down in a heap. Yellow card produced for Biles. And well, we saw in the second half that Ward wound up and, well, he was quite convinced that his effort was going goalward when it just careened off the wall. Looks like it will be Ward standing over it again. Switch their equal top scorer in the league with 5. Sam Ward. 3-player wall for FC Clifton Hill. Theodoridis directing traffic. It will be Ward. Go for goal at that near post, and Theodoridis gets down low to deny. High corner in, claimed comfortably in the end by Theodoridis. No Northcote players making a challenge on the ball. Brought down by Hunt. Thought about the shot. Said gets to Frimpong. Ball in for Cook! Can't flick it on. Crashing and bashing through. Was Lever, I think it was, to put him off the effort. And Northcote survive another scare. Seti now for Northcote, carrying it forward out to Gandhi. He left it behind, back to Clement. Jones getting in his face. Seti looking up. Noon trying to marshal him. Big collision, and that's going to be a free kick against the Northcote number 7. Harry Noon directing traffic as we await Theodoridis to boot this one forward in the Cook direction. Instead, Lever makes multiple defensive headers. Biles sends it back to Cook. Out to Hunt. Hunt has been excellent for FC Clifton Hill tonight. Lever sends it back, well, to Kumanau, who's not all too convincing with the clearance, putting it out on what will be a throw-in to Clifton Hill. Joe Jones getting forward for it. Biles presents the short option, but that's not looking like it's going to be taken. Oh, it is. Bit of trickery. And for Frimpong, he brings it down. But now, oh, that was almost it. That was possibly it. Desperate defending from Northcote. Foster is probably wondering how his side aren't ahead right now. Northcote living dangerously. They're doing more than living dangerously. Not only are they staring into the precipice, they're setting up a deck chair and looking down at it at the moment. All these Clifton Hill attacks. Here comes another one. Defensive header. Berry trying desperately to win it back, but Seti comes away with it. Crossfield ball is sent back by Harris. Seti will win the free kick and then get a little extra shove from Harry Noon for his trouble. Big Harry Noon just trying to lay down who the big dog in the midfield yard is. Bates brings it inside. Salakidis. Foster in his face, so he forces him to go back to Jacob Lever. Kevin Lynch. Here comes Northcote, ball in central. Bates can't collect. But Clifton Hill with numbers back, so they're not able to transition properly. Cook on his own on an island, and Northcote doing well now to just take the sting out of that momentum that FC Clifton Hill had. Central for Knight. Driving in towards goal now. Knight. Seti's going to have to chase this one down. Not going to get there. Foster to Cook. Trying to play the 1-2. Lever aware of the danger. Gets it to Gundy. And now he's going to be clipped by Jones. And that's going to be a booking. So the yellow cards increasingly flowing as this game goes on. He'd potentially be inclined. No, it's a red card. Second yellow for Joe Jones. Indeed, he had been booked earlier in the contest. And now, here we go. A reckless challenge becomes a silly one. Joe Jones burying his face in his shirt and his hands. He makes his way to the dressing room, and Clifton Hill down a man as they try to stay in this one. Theodoridis comes out to claim. Boots it forward. Even more David and Goliath areas now for FC Clifton Hill, the State League 2 side. Down to 10 against Northcote. Salakidis. There should ostensibly be just that extra yard of space now for Northcote if they can find it with their one-man advantage. Seti turning. Closed down by Berry. Still working his way into the penalty area, trying to get across in, and it will go out for a corner. So we approach the halfway point of extra time. Height getting forward for Northcote as the ball is swung in. Noon's defensive header and then cleared away by Foster. But now you can see with that one-man disadvantage, there is nobody forward to contest the clearance for Clifton Hill. So they'll have to just sit back and await Northcote to come forward again, albeit that's a let-off for them. Salakidis' ball just rolling out, watched by Shelton Frimpong. Cook has now gotten forward for Clifton Hill as they try to work their way out, and that's a good long throw to him. But a turnover to Salakidis. Gandhi just can't marshal the ball. Northcote get it back. Salakidis plays it central. Kevin Lynch. Big collision with Noon, but it's going to bounce in favour of Northcote. Noon increasingly providing that physical presence in the middle for Clifton Hill. Bit of steal in there, and whoa, that was, you'd have to say, miscommunication between Correa and Theodoridis. Looked like the goalkeeper had it covered, but Correa sticking a boot out and sending it out for a corner, which Nicholas Setse looks like he's going to get across to take. High ball delivered in, players underneath it, big pack forms, Knight's there. Ball still at his feet. Back out to Lynch. Ball intended for Georgopoulos, couldn't get to him. Players fly in, Bates. He's battling for it, but so is Gav Jones. No, so is Berry, sorry. Gav Jones has departed. Berry wins his side a free kick. And there we go. 105 minutes of football now played at John Cain Memorial, and we still do not have a winner. Northcote City 1. FC Clifton Hill 1. And the crucible that is the penalty shootout looms increasingly large here on what is an increasingly chilly Tuesday night here in Melbourne. Weather app tells me we're down to 9 degrees. I think it's fibbing. I think it's a few degrees chillier than that. But the crowd has not left. They are still waiting for a winner. Both sides really battling the fatigue. FC Clifton Hill players moving across to the dugout for some extra instructions. Northcote players, one of them just hanging about in what will be their defensive half, on their haunches, hands on their knees, sucking in the big gulps of oxygen. And they do, however, have a one-man advantage for this coming 15 minutes after Joe Jones, who came on as a substitute, but picked up 2 yellow cards and received his marching orders. Will be Berry to get us going for FC Clifton Hill, looking to somehow find a way through to the national stages for the first time in their history. They would be the lowest ranked side to ever advance through to the round of 32 from Victoria. Nice feather in the cap of this side. Frimpong, he tries to carry it forward. As previously mentioned, FC Clifton Hill have never actually been in the top tier of Victorian football. Their best mark 3 seasons in the second tier from 2008 to 2010 were founded back in 1975. As here comes Bates for Northcote. He can't get the ball across. Winning his side a corner. Northcote, proud club here in Victorian football, founded as Hercules back in 1960. They're the 3rd oldest Hellenic club in Melbourne. As this ball comes in, Noon at the near post clears it away, but again, with that one-man disadvantage, nobody there to make a contest of it for Northcote. All out to the left, headed away. Both sides into double digits of shots now, and it's actually Clifton Hill that have had more shots on target. Unable to find a way past Kimmer now. And Foster came agonisingly close to putting his side ahead in that first period of extra time, only for a late deflection to send it out for a corner instead. As Lever and Cook do battle again, as they have been doing ever since Cook was introduced late in the second half. Foster scans and turns. Bringing it inside. Cook winds up. And Kimenow claims. And Tremaine Sadler has come on as well for Northcote, the number 5. As Bates can't keep that one in. Throwing down in the Cook direction, the newly introduced Tremaine Sadler providing the contest. Sadler has previously scored in the round of 32 of the Australia Cup when he was with Brunswick Juventus, knocking out FC Bulleen Lions. It shows you somewhat of the rate of change in Australian football when he did that. It was actually called the FFA Cup, and Brunswick Juventus were called Moreland Zebras. But continuity is a thing. Crossfield ball now for Bates. Back to Sadler presented the option. Bates ignored it. Should mention that Sadler looks to have entered the play for Sam Ward. Silakitis falls to Bates, appeals for a free kick, and it's going to be a free kick now. Is this going to be another red card? Yellow card is produced, trying to see who it is and if this would be their second. And it's another red card for Luke Biles, who was booked only recently. So now the veteran defender receives his marching orders. And FC Clifton Hill are down to 9. And actually, no, I have to apologise. Sam Ward has remained on the park, and it is him who is going to be looking to take this free kick, one would imagine, as Bates hobbles away. And Sam Ward sent his first free kick into the wall. His second free kick was saved by Theodoridis. Is it third time lucky for the Northcote number 23? Can he find the goal that would have Hercules on their way through to the Australia Cups round of 32? Ward punched away by Theodoridis. And then both players sliding in there. Play on. Long throw in now for 9-man Clifton Hill. One would just imagine that they would now just be looking to batten down the hatches and get to penalties. 2-player disadvantage can't hurt you there, but it can hurt you in regular play, as here come Northcote again. Pressure absolutely on them as that shot comes in, and it's claimed by Theodoridis. Frimpong claims it for Clifton Hill. Can't find a teammate. Strong challenge by Noon on Seti.
I know.
Lynch sends it out to Sadler on the left. Ball in. Clifton Hill players almost getting in each other's way. Georgopoulos. Frimpong and Noon combined to see that one away. Ball across to Sadler, who appears looking at the lineups. Came on for Steve Sokol, so the sub subbed off for another sub. Maybe a change with penalties in mind. Winding up from range was Lever. Would have been spectacular, if highly unlikely.
If he scores from there against this people, I'll be nude.
Here comes Northcote again, getting in the road, shooting, and Theodoridis had to react quickly. Georgopoulos had time and let it develop in front of him before sending in the left-footed effort. And Bates stretching on the edge of the area. I think the technical term is cooked. Cramping up. He's been in the wars, but he's going to have to stay out there. Georgopoulos dinking it across. Glancing header. Clifton Hill survive. Booted forward, Sadler sends it back. 50-50 ball. Bates eventually grabs it and tries to take it down the left flank, just bustled over my Heroes. 3 Clifton Hill players there, and eventually they're going to win it out. But here we go, here's the problem, 9 men for Clifton Hill. Nathan Cook has been forced to go back to centre-back, so there's just nobody there for any transitions. It's really just going to have to be holding out now for penalties from Clifton Hill. Brandon Kummer now screaming instructions at his Northcote players from his position in the penalty area as they try to fashion a way through this 9-player Clifton Hill defence. Really, the press that we saw from Clifton Hill has now well and truly retreated into an armoured sky blue tortoise. Sadler sends it out to Bates. Carries it inside. Comes up with a cramp. He's signalling to the dugout. Georgopoulos keeps play alive tonight. Over to Lever. Ball sent in the Gandhi direction. Georgopoulos keeps it alive. Headed on by Gandhi, and it's going to flash across the face of goal. Ball is booted long. Sadler wins the header. Ward back to Lever. Again, here come Northcote winding up. Is this to be the sling that puts them ahead? Seti from range, and again it's going to flash across the face of goal. I think it took an awkward bounce off a divot. But Theodoridis didn't need to worry as the trajectory was off. So again, this one looks like it's going to be going long. Harry Noon trying to rally the troops. Clapping in the midfield, trying to keep his side's heads up. Under 10 minutes of play remaining now until we get to the penalty shootout. For all intents and purposes, it looks like that Clifton Hill have given up on trying to win inside this added time as Bates goes down again behind play. He's in a lot of pain, run himself ragged. Meanwhile, Gandhi, Lever coming up on an adventure from the centre-back position. Sethi, fancy footwork to keep play alive, trying to dink it across to Lever. Gandhi, just so many sky blue shirts in the way. And now Berry across to Frimpong. Do Clifton Hill even want to attack? I mean, there's Frimpong there carrying it down towards the byline, but there's nobody running with him. And Northcote are going to have to try to figure something out for Bates. He's absolutely cooked over here on the sideline. Frimpong's taking it to the touchline. There you go. That's the intent for Clifton Hill. Goal kick. Bates has been asking for a sub for what feels like about ever since the start of extra time. I'm trying to see what it is. I think he can barely put any weight on that right leg as he hops off. Collapses after getting over the touchline. Almost in agonising pain, it looks like Bates. Meanwhile, play's continuing.
I don't know. They haven't put anyone on. They put them all on.
Sadler out to Lynch, high ball in. Theodoridis claims it.
No one gives a shit, 17. They're not coming for you.
And Bates is back on the pitch.
And they've given him the ball, he can't move.
Sadler across to Georgopoulos. Northcote wind up again. Sethi can't beat the first man. No, sorry, that was Knight. Frimpong. Salakida sticks a boot in. And I think now Bates has got himself into the book as well. So that's all happening for Zach Bates. Shot from Frimpong does enough to win a throw-in. So more precious seconds ticking away, and in fact, penalty shootout has to be imminent. We have now played the full 120 minutes, so the rear-going action from Clifton Hill looks to have been a successful one. We are at the mercy of Ioannis Zizis. Well, and these throw-ins, these extra seconds off the clock, as good as gold if you are Clifton Hill. It's now down to the penalty shootout. Who's brave enough? Who's going to step up? Which keeper has what it takes to emerge as a hero? Maybe time for one final attack from Northcote. You can see the sense of urgency that they're coming forward with. Sadler. Surely they would have gotten word from the dugout that this is it. And Sethi goes down the left flank. And that is it. 120 minutes of football has been played here at John Cain Memorial Park. No winner has been able to be found. We will go to a penalty shootout to determine who will advance to the national stages of the Australia Cup from Victoria. Will it be NPL 2 side Northcote City? Will it be State League 2 Northwest side FC Clifton Hill, bidding to become the lowest ranked side from Victoria to ever progress to the national stages? We know every other side that has advanced from Victoria. It has gone full time in the Oakley Cannons versus Geelong SC. The Oakley Cannons 5-0 winners. They are back on the national stages after their semi-final run from a season ago. The Melbourne Knights have advanced, beating Yarraville FC 3-1, overturning a 1-0 halftime deficit. Last week, we saw the Goulburn Valley Suns advance 2-0 at the expense of Hume City, and we saw Heidelberg advance 3-2 after extra time against St Albans. But this game is still up in the air. Both sides absolutely out on their feet. Saw Zach Bates, he could barely walk by the end of the game. He can't walk now, he's down on the turf. I mean, he might go home and his leg's going to fall off, but he's still out there right now at the very least, Zach Bates. And which end will we have penalties at? It appears to be going towards the right of your screen. So I think the decision might have been made to kick the ball away from the fans that now begin the mass migration across from left to right, sprinting across. The juniors here from Northcote. Sprinting across to get behind the goals for the start of this shootout. And it looks like it will be Northcote that will step up first. Sam Ward to open proceedings for Hercules. Saw him take 3 free kicks in the game, 2 of which forced Theodoridis to work. Perhaps it's maybe a little bit fitting, the 1-year anniversary of when the Socceroos knocked Peru out in a penalty shootout to make it to the World Cup finals in Qatar. Now we can mark it with an Australia Cup shootout. Northcote against Clifton Hill. Fans even here in the grandstand have migrated across to get a better view of these spot kicks. Sam Ward receives, well, the honour, the poison chalice, the task, call it what you like. He will be the first to take. Chris Theodoridis awaits in the Clifton Hill goal. I mean, Theodoridis has been known to take penalties himself. He might be one of the players that will step up for Clifton Hill, the Hillman. But right now, he's tasked with saving this one, but he's not going to be able to. A well-struck penalty from Sam Ward, sending the keeper the wrong way. So Northcote leading 1-0 in the shootout. And now it will be Nathan Cook to take the first spot kick for Clifton Hill. The big man who came on, played striker and centre-back. And he slots his penalty with a casual ease into the bottom corner of the net. So Clifton Hill level things up at 1 apiece. And now Nicola Setti coming forward for Northcote. Tension absolutely palpable here at John Cain Memorial Park. Northcote looking to return to the national stages for the second time. Pressure on Sessi. The stutter step run up. Finds the top corner of the net. And now the pressure goes back on the visitors, back on Clifton Hill, onto the shoulders of Matthias Correa. Was a standout for Clifton Hill tonight in the back line. Started at right back, went central. Helps steal the rearguard action that let 9-man Clifton Hill force this to penalties. Can he now convert his penalty? He does! Brandon Kumanow guessed the right way, but it was struck with enough power to ricochet in off the post. So 4 penalties taken by both sides, 2 apiece. Everyone has found the back of the net, as now Ioannis Georgopoulos comes forward to take for Northcote. Walking with purpose towards the penalty spot. Theodoridis just comes off his line to emerge, and now he will step back. Maybe a bit of mind games from the Clifton Hill keeper, making Georgopoulos wait for him. Georgopoulos finds the net. So 3 penalties for Northcote, 3 converted. And now James Foster. Has it all to do for Clifton Hill. Can he keep this string of successful penalties going? He converts as well. Both sides refusing to blink as Joshua Knight comes forward for Northcote. Knight scored a penalty back in 2019 that sent Bulleen to the national stages. That one against St Albans. And it wasn't in a shootout. Can he now hold his nerve? Doesn't look like he's going to take much of a run-up. No, he steps back now. Knight just gets it past Theodoridis. It looked like the Clifton Hill keeper knew where it was going, but he couldn't keep it out. And still, we await our first miss from either side. Joseph Hunt now for Clifton Hill. Another one of their standouts tonight. Hunt. Saved! My Kumanow, advantage Northcote. And now, this can win it for Northcote. They've scored all 4 of their penalties to this point. And now Yug Gandhi, who put them ahead in the first half. The youngster made his senior debut with this side last year as a 17-year-old. Was their young player of the year, and now the local boy come good, came up through the youth ranks. Can he send Northcote to the national stages? It's Gandhi to take. Saved by Theodoridis. Clifton Hill remain alive in the Australia Cup. both of these sides unable to just draw away from the other. And now here we go, postulated on it. It is going to be Theodoridis to take this penalty. He must score to keep his side's Australia Cup alive. He did his duty up on the other side of things. He saved Gandhi's penalty. Now can he slot this one home? Theodoridis to take. Finds the top corner of the net. Kumanau maybe got a hand to it. Couldn't keep it out. And here we go. We are now in sudden death in this shootout. Clifton Hill refusing to die. They dragged it back from 1 goal down. They went down to 9 men in extra time to force a penalty shootout. And now Jacob Lever for Northcote. Theodoridis comes off his line. The mind games again, making him wait. Dancing on the goal line from Theodoridis. Lever, bottom corner of the net. Again, Theodoridis gets in the right way. But the English centre-back tucking that one superbly inside the post. And now Shelton Frimpong coming forward. He must score to keep this shootout going. Frimpong saved by Kumanau. Northcote are returning to the national stages of the Australia Cup. Hercules labours will continue in the round of 32. They finally get it done in the penalty shootout. Clifton Hill got back off the canvas time and time again, but in the end, in the cruelest way imaginable, 9-man Clifton Hill go down in the shootout. Frimpong's penalty saved by Brandon Kumanau. And we now have our field complete from Victoria. It will be the Goulburn Valley Suns, Heidelberg, Melbourne Knights, Oakley Cannons and Northcote City representing Victoria in the Australia Cup's round of 32. An extraordinary night here at John Cain Memorial Park. A back and forth game. A State League 2 side that can hold their heads high, having come here and pushed NPL 2 Northcote City all the way. One looking at the table can, in State League 2 Northwest, we can only imagine that they will actually be moving up the pyramid sooner rather than later. But for Northcote, joy for them, delayed gratification in the end. It took 120 minutes plus penalties, but they got there. Coach Zelko Kuzman has his side returning to the national stages. My name has been Joey Lynch. Thank you ever so much for joining us tonight on this broadcast, whether you've been watching on NPL.tv, on the Football Victoria Facebook page or the Football Victoria YouTube page. The next time Victorian sides take part in the Australia Cup, it will be on 10 play in the national stages. But thank you for your company tonight. Thank you for your company throughout the preliminary stages of qualifying here in Victoria. But for now, thanks and success.